So, episode 11
Yeah,
of What Katie Draws.
yeah.
Look at us go. Um, it's really weird that I'm sitting here just being blasted, washed out by sunlight, and you're sitting in just absolute darkness.
I know. I had a bit of a technical hiccup with my light. I think it's blown a fuse or something, but I still haven't got around to fixing it yet. So, just gonna have like my crappy little side light from my in my bedroom.
That's fine because we're what we really want everybody to see is your screen, right? While you're
Yeah,
drawing.
that's the
That's the
thing.
important thing.
Yeah. So, have we
Which
got any UHS news before we start?
Warp Hustler funded.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it.
Finally.
Well, actually, I have read it, but it's really good. I can't wait to see it like as a
It is
published comic.
it is a very weird comic. Very
But you
weird
want to read
comic.
it. You want to know more. That's a good thing
I
about
kept
it.
I kept saying I have no idea what's going on and I want to read more. I want to
Yeah.
and you can read it. I read it at least 3 times and it's like you're finding something new in the art each time. Martin
Yeah.
Simmons is a really
Oh,
great artist.
the art's amazing. So
It is.
yeah. So speaking of UHS comics, this what I'm working on today is actually a cover. Well, it's going to be a variant cover for a new comic that's coming soon, which is I'm not allowed to give too many spoilers, I don't think, but it's going to be a bit more of an adult comic. So uh, it's going to be interesting, and I've been looking at the character designs and stuff. So I'm going to show my screen. So this is my attempt so far. I've been having fun with trying to get the costume right and everything. So there possibly might be an alternative version that's not quite as fully clothed for people to choose on the options. But at the moment, we're just working on this. So I'm really pleased with how this is looking so far. So I'll show off a bit more. So she's still a bit rough. I've kind of just loosely sketched the clothing details in just to actually, try and get the proportions of them and things. I haven't really decided on what lighting there's going to be yet. She does have a scar above her eye, but again, skin tones are not finalized. This is just. In fact, I can probably
The shading looks great, but yeah, she looks a little
yeah.
gray, I guess.
Oh, it's
but,
because it's drawn in black and white like that with the flat color underneath. So
yeah.
it's,
So it will definitely be better when it's done.
oh yeah,
it's still better than I could do.
Well, it's a cheating way. I mean, it's just putting a flat layer of color underneath at the moment. So that's not the way that skin works. So I found this amazing chart on somewhere on the internet on ye olde Google. Apart from it's not Google because I use something different. But it was it that? No, this color chart is so useful for artists because I mean, look at this. It's like every skin tone. And that's so useful. I'm kind of trying to figure out whereabouts she lies on it, which is because she's a bit more sort of reddish than some of these, but I'll figure it out. It's just like a loose guide to what the actual highlights and shadow tones should be. But I'm so glad I found it again because I saw it once and I didn't save it, and then I couldn't find it again, and I was so annoyed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
this is a really good chart, though.
Yeah, this time I tried to save it because when I searched for it another time, it was all like makeup charts and stuff, and you're still not seeing the right colors, the skin tones and things. Right, so I got at the moment. I found a photo that I did of a harbor, so I'm trying to think of what backgrounds to put her in before I start doing any details. So this is a local like 17th century harbor, which I think is pretty cool. It's all the differences in the rocks and everything, but I just thought that sort of. Just to give me a rough idea of like what the stones would look like, I think I'm gonna have her sat at the edge of a pier. She does have a raven that I need to put in somewhere, and I thought maybe putting like the sort of bollard that you see on piers to actually tie off ships to. That might help, to have the raven sat on top of it. So I think for now I'm going to. I've forgotten what all these layers are for. Okay, that's that one. That's that one. I don't know what those ones are for. They're not visible, so they're probably not all that important, right? I get very confused by layers because I never name anything. and then forget what they are, and then you'll delete
That
one, and
sounds
you
about
find
right.
then you'll delete one, and you find it's got some sort of quite like useful thing that has suddenly disappeared, and you didn't notice until like
Yeah.
3 hours later.
When I
But
was using, I used Procreate. When I was using my old iPad, it didn't
yeah,
have as much memory and storage space as the one that I have now. And so I'd have to merge layers sometimes because it would only let me have a certain number of layers.
yeah.
And sometimes I would get so mad 'cause I'm like, shit, I didn't want to merge that yet. Oh, and then I'd merge something thinking nothing of it and carry on. And then, a day later when I'm working on it again, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, I've been there so many times. It's just you kind of think, oh, I'll merge those two because then I've got less layers to actually try and work my way through, and it's always something important. It's
Yep.
like,
With the new iPad, it's got so much more space that it's really nice because I have yet to have to merge anything or delete anything
yeah.
due to the size. Like, oh man, I was supposed to do a 16 by 20 poster a couple years ago, and I was trying to do it on the little iPad, and I literally had 3 layers I could work with if I made it that big. And I couldn't make it smaller, but with a higher DPI because that gave me the same problem.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a pain in the butt.
Alright, so I'm gonna see if I can get like a ship's bollardy thing and put the rope next to it, like a coil of rope maybe, because there's always a coil of rope somewhere around a harbour. I mean, it's tying off ships and everything. So I kind of figured out something like that might be good for putting the Raven on. That doesn't quite look right there. The good thing is about with digital stuff is you can actually move stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks maybe a bit better there. I have to. I keep checking things because there's so that this is potentially where everything is going to go. So I keep checking things against that just to actually see if it makes a bit of difference. I don't want to put the Raven in here and not have enough space for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of deciding what to do with the Raven. Oh damn! I didn't mean to do that. What am I doing? I did not have enough sleep like last night. I did like 4 hours driving yesterday, and my brain's still fried. So, right, there we go. That's the right layers.
Oh, excuse me.
So, and it's amazing, like you're sitting down, but it just makes you so tired when you're driving that far.
Mm-hmm. And you're not just sitting. I mean, people underestimate how much space or how much
concentration,
how much focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard a really random noise, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And it's the washing machine.
I would kind of assume it was cats.
Or cats. Yeah. It was just like I was like, "What is this? Is the house about to blow up? I don't know what's going on." But yeah, it's people underestimate how much focus and concentration. Like you have to balance your body, and your muscles are constantly tense because it's when you're shaking. When you're moving in the car, like it's you shouldn't say you were just driving and you don't have a reason to be tired because that's a plenty good reason to be tired.
Well, I mean, I've seen videos of like, is it true like American roads are often quite straight? Because I've seen like videos where they don't seem to have like, a lot of corners. It's just like
it depends on where you are, but yeah. We are in.
Scotland is not like that.
Yeah, no, right now. Okay, so what we are in is called the driftless area, which I imagine would be you would find to be quite similar to what you see, at least away from the coast. I mean, if you're like right on the coast, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit sharper, hillier, curvier. But here we've got it's where the 10,000 years ago the glaciers were coming through and wiped everything straight and flat. And but this is the huge swath across the Midwest where it didn't do that, and there's hills and stuff and bluffs and things. And the bluffs were cut in by the river, with like we're near the Mississippi River, the big one in the country.
Yeah, well, Scotland, I think it was part of Canada originally that sort of came off and then crashed into the rest of Europe. So it compressed, and all the West Coast and the mid part is just so full of hills. So there's quite a few like U-bends and stuff where you just going right the way back on yourself and things, and you kind of you've always got to keep your eye out for people driving like idiots because there's always some.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I noticed when I visited, I didn't get to Scotland, but I was in like Whitby, I think.
Yeah.
Driving, and I thought once I got the hang of being on the wrong side of the car, I thought this is actually quite similar to driving where I live. And then when we got to about a mile from the coast, things got way steeper and sharper, and I was like, holy shit, okay, so we don't have that here. but yeah, like away from the coast, it's definitely a lot similar to here. And then if you go if you go just maybe like 10 miles out west of here, just it's not very far at all. You drive, and then all of a sudden, straight, flat, nothing. And it is miserable to drive. It is miserable.
I imagine it's kind of hard to keep your concentration when it's like that as well, because it's, It
is, and it's like, it will just, the straightness, and it's flat, so there's no hills to make your body remember that you're moving. Yeah. And it can lull you to sleep even. Like, it is not safe to drive there if you're tired at all.
No. I mean, it's bad enough when you're kind of going down. It's weird because the coastal roads are actually kind of straighter up here because it's not quite as mountainous as the interior. But, I mean, a lot of the roads as well is like you can't really get to full speed because there's too many corners. But you do get some really good little. There's like one of the roads I went through, and it has a town with the best name I've ever heard. And I'd say town, it's like 3 houses, but it's called Maggie Knocketer, and I think it's a great name.
Wait, say that again.
Maggie Knocketer. They probably
Maggie Knocketer.
Yeah, they actually probably pronounce it completely different because all towns around here seem to have like people just say the names. It's nothing like what the locals actually call them, like.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Aberchurda is foggy to the locals, so it's just, it doesn't make any sense. But it is lovely going over there because then you get to see the big mountains. Because around here it's kind of flattened in places, but there's the little hills. It's but where I went was like more to the west coast where the bigger mountains and stuff are, like the Grampians and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of trying to do a bit more of a cobbly type of thing. I found like in especially old harbours and stuff, all of the rocks are just kind of like different sizes. They just use whatever they had, and it's like that'll do.
Yeah. I just feel like you should know that I wanted to see the whole thing, and I just tried to scroll up your screen with my mouse right now.
Yeah, I've done stuff like that. It's
and Jeffrey's laughing at me.
One of my friends.
It's one of the dangers of streaming, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, one of my friends once tried to. He was trying to wind me up because I was on the laptop at his house, and he tried to use the touchscreen on my laptop. He was like, it's not a touchscreen, dude." So.
Sucker.
Yeah. So, possibly the actual, the perspective maybe not quite right, but I'll play around with it at some point. So I've just kind of been thinking about...
maybe, but like it looks pretty fucking good right now.
Thank you.
Pretty damn nice, if I do say so myself, and I do.
I'm trying to decide what to do in the background. Do I do like the sea? Because like I can do the ocean, or do I do like a ship wall behind her, where that would be more like interesting with the rocks? Although it might not make her skin tone quite as obvious, but I feel like if it's but the raven, let's put another layer. My brain just keeps just buzzing noises. I'm so tired. So I'm trying to think.
We can make this an abridged episode if you need to go take a nap.
Oh no, I don't need a nap. I just my brain's not working, so I'm just trying to think what to do with the raven.
She gonna have something in her hand?
Yes, and I keep forgetting to draw that. Thank you for actually. There's a certain necklace I think that is part of.
Yeah, because she's got her hand out in a way that suggests she's supposed to be presenting something in it. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, you could put the bird in her hand, but then I was like, nah, there's a reason you drew her hand like that, and it wasn't for the bird.
And I think you wouldn't be able to actually get a raven to sit on her hand like that. They're quite heavy and surprisingly big. I'm just trying to
I
think
mean,
what to do.
this is a comic. There's no rules.
Yeah, but I'm a wildlife artist, so it's like
It's starting
I'm
to
trying
pick
to.
it up now. Like you had to get right on top of it. Jeffrey's on a cleaning jag and he's vacuuming, and so we decided we were going to test out how well the
Okay.
sound canceling software works. He's literally right in front of the computer now, and it only just barely seems to be picking it up on the mic. So it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that is
Worth
pretty
the
good.
money. Can you hear anything?
I just vaguely heard it, but not now. Just a little bit, but
I mean,
yeah.
my microphone meter thinger says it's picking it up, but Jeffrey Katy says she cannot hear it.
I can hear a little bit now, but
Oh,
it's not
like a
really.
little like a little hum, maybe.
Yeah, it just sounds. Yeah, it's
Just
not.
vaguely like background noise, because yeah, it's like he's on top of it and he's slammed into the table a few times here too. So
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So I'm thinking,
yeah, nice.
maybe.
I cannot recommend this stuff. I mean, Crisp is a good freaking program. I have no idea how much it costs, and do know that it costs. You can have you get some free use out of it, but
Yeah.
what?
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. I'm just a really big fan. But yeah, like I need to make sure that everybody knows about this, and maybe we need to pass it on to Mr. Watson too, because no matter what he does, he seems to have bad mic.
Well, I'm really impressed with this mic. I mean, I only got it recently, but it seems to have really good sound quality on it. So
Yeah, it does. Your mic is really nice, and I don't hear any background on yours either. So like, you don't even need noise canceling. I mean, besides being in a quiet room already.
Yeah, I'm
in
just
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm just in my bedroom.
I know. Yeah, I know. Before I got the noise canceling, and we got changed up my mic situation, and then got some noise canceling software because there's a train tracks like not far from here, and like close enough that when the train goes through, it shakes the building. So you can hear it every time it goes through if I don't have the sound software on. So
yeah.
And Jeffrey is very particular about stuff like that. When he decides he's going to fix something, he is not going to stop until it is fixed. Like, he does not half-ass. Sometimes it can be a trick to get him to do something for me, but when he does do it for me, he whole asses. He's not half-ass.
Oh, I can't decide what to do for this raven. I'm just sat here like... I didn't have actual photos of a raven because my friend had two, and they were amazing, and they could talk as well, because I didn't realize that ravens can actually talk really well. Like,
I've seen videos. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're better than actual parrots for it. And this one was called Digit, and he had an atrophied leg, which so he was a bit sort of stuck. He couldn't really be released into the wild again because he had it was just completely solid like a club. But he I went past his enclosure, and all I could hear was hello. It's like this really posh man's voice, and it was just so cute. But you're just looking at you really suspiciously, but when you look into the eyes of a raven, you can see they're weighing you up, because they're sort of looking you up and down, like trying to figure you out and suss you out. Yeah, they're really cool. I love them.
Yeah, and yeah, they are. I've seen they are very smart, and they are. And I was shocked to hear how well they talk. They really are good at talking.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really decide what I'm kind of going for, but I can always ask Laurie, because Laurie's the boss on this one. So, kind of like that one, but of course, it's not really, accurate just now. I'd have to go back and do something, but it's just, it's too many layers. Anyway, for now, I'm just going to decide later. So it's just going to be the bollard for now. But I was thinking,
you could put him on the treasure chest too, couldn't you? If you wanted to get him more in the foreground.
I don't think he'd be quite as obvious on the treasure chest, but I mean, I suppose I could have him sitting sort of where the bollard is, but I'm just trying to think at the moment. It would be kind of nice to have like a bit of water showing, maybe, and then like a harbour wall behind, maybe. or just maybe the C, or even like, let's think. I'm going to need to make sure I'm on the right layer again, because I'm very good at drawing on the wrong layer. Aren't we all?
I hear that.
Yeah. Whoops. I keep catching the bottom of that, so yeah. So maybe something like I don't want to get it right lining up to the bottom of the logo, because that would look really annoying, but maybe have some sort of like mountains or something in the background. Like a coastline with some ships or something that you can see. I don't know. Don't know what type of ship.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah. That's pretty nice. I mean, you can flesh that out, and if it needs something else, then worry about that when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I see that. That looks good.
Yeah, I don't want to put too much in the top bit, because the logo is going to be there, and the logo, we don't know what the logo is going to be just yet. So
yeah, that can just be sky and clouds and shit.
Yeah, so that's a good tip that I learned about comics from actually watching all of these shows. Was his like, don't put stuff that you don't want to be covered up where the logos and everything is going to go. So, yeah. So I mean, it's just a bit of a mock-up at the moment, but no, I'm really enjoying working on this one. It's like I like doing comic art, like the cover art, rather than the coloring's fun, but I actually think it's you get more of a bit more chance to be a bit more creative with doing the covers. So what I'm gonna do, I might just go underneath this for now so name this layer, because I'm gonna forget it otherwise.
What? You're gonna name a layer? That's crazy.
No, it's because I'm getting confused which layer I'm on. Yeah, so background color maybe flat just for that. Now, and then I can just kind of go in with a flattish color underneath, and just so that it gives me an idea, and it's not just looking at white stuff, because I mean, actually I could just turn off that layer with the actual logo on, but I want to have some idea where it is for now.
Yeah.
Well, those are usually kind of like rusty sort of black iron kind of color most of the time. From what I've seen anyway. I mean, you get like rusty patches and stuff, because it's obviously near the sea, and salt's not very good for things. But see, I've been kind of like, before we came on air, I was just looking at some artwork that I found that someone had done for us, like it's Mountain Blade Bannerlord or something. I don't know what it was for. It's some sort of game art, but I just sat there staring at the colours on it. Like, the colours are amazing. Yeah. I was like, how did he do that? It's like, because I mean, that's the thing. It's quite, it's fine to be inspired by other artists, but it's not like you're stealing from them. It's like, yeah. So, not in the way that all of our favourite software things seem to do these days, but.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's that's another story, which it might end up ranting about it like Fish does with daylight savings times.
Oh man, it's gonna take a while before I forget how badly we derailed his show that day.
It was fun,
and it ended up on like civil rights and stuff too. Like, it was weird, that the weird ass path that whole conversation took.
Oh, it's just what happens when you get loads of people with ADHD in the same place. From what
That's true. That's true.
So
you think Kyron has ADHD? I don't know. He seems to be able to focus pretty well, so maybe.
Well, we do.
Maybe he doesn't.
So yeah.
We do. I know. It's interesting, isn't it? All you take. In childhood, I had like 0 friends, and then as the internet became a thing, because I know, right? I predate the internet. It's crazy.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, like, as the internet became a thing, that's when I started making friends, and online, of course, not in person, and realized later on, as we all are starting to get our diagnoses and all are starting to run together, and having our friends be like, oh yeah, I have ADHD, or I have autism, and then I'm like, oh, that's weird. I would never have taken you for that. You act just like I do. And it's like, wait a minute. Huh.
Yeah, then you get these friends that are like, yeah, but everyone's got a touch of autism. Like, really? It's like the people who say that usually get tested for it.
I say stuff like, my mom is a big one for, everybody has trouble with that. And I was like, no, Mom, I don't want to break this to you, Mom, but I think you maybe should go to the doctor and have them tell you what I already know to be true.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of it is genetic as well, so it's a chance that if you get it, then your mom does too.
Yeah, or I mean, I can tell, like, looking, now that I know more about it and I look at my family, I know at least one of my siblings and both of my parents very likely have some form of it. But
I'm not sure.
But like, they're much more functional than I am. I don't know why I'm so not functional. It's obnoxious, really.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else seems to be making shit happen so much easier than I do.
I mean, there is like higher functioning versions of it, so it's like, you know, some people can function better with things that like it's a spectrum. I have drawn on the wrong layer again. It happens quite a lot, right? I've just been thinking though that this background layer, it might make it more obvious if what am I going to do? This bit here. If I just try and like get this logo and this bit, can I just select? I probably can, but my brain's just not working today. Yes, so can I just clear that? I used to know how to do all of this in Photoshop. Like, it's because it's like slightly different in the menus on this. I still prefer this, but you know, I'll just use the eraser tool. That'll do. So just so I can like get, it's not exactly what I wanted, but
not bad though.
No, and the only trouble is that I can't actually. Oh, I know how I can do it. Right, hang on. Select, deselect. Convert brightness to opacity. There we go. So I'm just going to put it. Yeah, that's a really good thing because it just converts everything that's white to be transparent. So, yeah. Oops. No, that's better. So, I'm not set on the sort of blue mountains. I'm going to have to maybe decide on a different color for them because it's better to sort of. Landscapes are something I actually kind of struggle with. I'm trying to get myself better with them, but oops, wrong button. But I kind of, you know, I always used to think it was like the most boring part of the painting, so I tended to avoid it a bit. And I really shouldn't. Like Fish says, if you struggle with something, you should really try and force yourself to draw it, because then it gets easier. And it is true. Actually, where's that logo layer? Because that's gonna really annoy me. Because there's there's two lines there that is actually on the logo page, and I'm just gonna keep trying to erase them on the layer I'm on. Because why isn't it erasing? I put the sort of horizon line a little bit above the this bottom bit of this like tag labely thing, because otherwise it's just going to line up really weirdly and be really eye-catching. So look at my crappy little ship. My granddad used to have a really cool matchstick sort of little ship that on his wall, and I wonder what happened to it, because I really used to like that. I think him and Dad actually made it when he was younger, and I used to really just like looking at it every time I used to visit them. Right, so that's more of a bit more of a I kind of like the brain's not working. Composition. There we go. I like the composition of it this time, with the background. But I can't decide what to do about the raven. He's going to sit there, and there is going to be a necklace on her hand. It's on the character sheet I've got given. So this is the character sheet, and like the artwork she's given me to work from is amazing. But this is the necklace. I don't know how big it's gonna be. It has to be, so I really need to look that one up. And I can't decide to have it like if it's gonna hang from her hand, or if it's gonna sit on her palm. What do you think? I think it'd be better. So it'd be more obvious if it's hanging from her
Yeah,
fingers.
you'd be able to see the actual pendant if it's
Yeah,
hanging.
because otherwise I'm gonna have to figure out how to draw that on its side, which will be fun, because it's quite complicated. Or I could have it like sat on her palm with the chain hanging down, but. I don't know. I think actually that the other way around would work. Yeah, that I've kind of just been playing around with stuff really. So, a lot of working on these things is kind of just messing around with stuff until it looks right. Just,
There's no magic technique to art in any way. It's literally the same thing. It's literally what you just said. You just mess around with it until it looks the way you want it to.
Don't go off. I've knocked the cable and the tablet's gone off now. There we go. It's come back on again. Sometimes it kind of like throws it for a few seconds if I knock the cable. No, I do like working on this one because I can see what I'm doing on this tablet, which is kind of cool. I should have got some like reference images of ravens up before I actually started working, but never mind. I was having the problem with my laptop restarting, and it's just so slow to reboot. Right, what layer is this? Don't know. So, kind of just looking at the textures on there. I suppose with it being a like a harbour and stuff, you'd have different types of stones that they'd use in the wall. Because I sent a picture to Fish a while back of one of the harbours near us, and he was amazed by the different different types of stones in the walls, and I'm like, it probably was. It's a 17th century harbour, so it's probably had quite a few like whatever they could get basically over the years. But yeah, that some of the repair work doesn't really seem to suit the other stuff. So I'm going to see, like, just start. I've got this on another layer, but I'm going to start giving a bit more interest into the brickwork, just to give it a bit more randomness to try and just replicate the real life. Really, I mean, nothing stays looking as neat as pristine and neat near the sea. I've been taking a lot of photos of walls and things near the sea because I live about 3 miles from the sea, so it's it's quite easy for me to get down to the harbours and things to look at things. You get a few like people give me odd looks when I'm like taking photos of a wall like really close up if there's like weathered stones and things, but it's fine. I've always been a bit of an oddball anyway, so
it's all good.
But it's amazing, sort of when you learn to draw, you seem to see things that other people don't see. Like you point out a really interesting pattern in a wall in like bricks or something, and these people just look at you like you're flipping mad. So it's all reference gathering is really important because it's good to go and see places like this just to actually give yourself an idea of what's really there. Just trying to get all the different greys and things. I mean,
excuse me. With
it being like this sort of style artwork rather than more of the line art things, it's easier to just I would like, there are some things like flats you can have a color palette that you save, but it's easier to just mix and match when you're doing this. And Clip has this amazing thing where you can actually I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but on here it's like color mixing. So if you actually draw onto it, then you can hang on, how does it work? I did figure it out before. How do you go onto it? I can't remember how it works now. Well, I can't quite remember how to actually get the stuff on there, but you could draw stuff on here, and it's just not doing it at the moment. Oh, there we go. So yeah, you'd get your like your browns and then your blues, and then you could like mix them together. Can you see that on the?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can blend it, and then you can use the color picking tool to actually select the color, like on the inside of it. So you can see it's selecting whatever color you've mixed together. I think that's such a cool feature.
Yeah. That'd be handy.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit. I'd say it's more useful for stuff like if you're trying to work out how the color of the light affects things. So you'd put like the color of what you're drawing on one side, and then like your generic light color on the other, because the color of the light really does affect the color of what you see. So, say if there's like a yellow on, oh, come on, just seeing if there's no, that's not gonna work. I don't understand why sometimes it puts it on and sometimes it doesn't. Right, there we go. So if you actually sort of blended that together, then you'd be able to see the different color palette it would give you. No, I don't exactly know. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's just not registering my clicks on my tablet. But it's really interesting. It's like mucking about with oil paint, apart from it goes less muddy. Because oil paints are horrendous for going muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of useful. I mean, just going through all the different things. You can do black and white and stuff as well, so it lightens it and darkens it. I really like this feature. I want to muck about with it a bit more when I'm actually doing artwork, because it seems so useful.
Mm-hmm.
Why has it now decided it's on eraser? I think it's messing with the actual, whatever it's doing, it's actually messing with the brush thing a bit more. Come on, that's not. Why has it set itself to erase rather than... No. Huh, that's a bit odd. I don't know what it's doing that for. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties today. Oh.
Good times.
Always.
You think that was the world telling us just don't stream today?
Possibly. It's just like everything's going wrong. Oh well. See, oil paint. Why isn't that working? That's just really weird. Let's try it in different. No, is it right click, erase, pen? There we go. I think it's because I'd actually clicked one of the buttons on my pen. Maybe. Anyway. Yeah. So at the moment we're gonna just figure out something. Right. Don't save now. Yeah, I did sort of contemplate not streaming today because I'm so tired, but then I realised that it's been quite a few times where I've just like forgotten to stream because I've just not remembered it's a Wednesday. So again,
yeah, we should do something to make that happen less.
Yeah, I mean it is a bit of a ADHD thing as well, because I do have quite a lot of time blindness, so sometimes that just happens, and it's like it's not because I forget to stream; it's because I've forgotten it's a Wednesday. So
I put it in my calendar, and it turns out that's not enough, because it'll put a little banner up that says, "Hey, you have a stream in 2 hours," and I'll be like, "Okay, cool," and then I'll forget anyway.
Or you'll be like, "Oh, cool! I forgot about that, and now I'm 3 hours away." It's like, can't possibly get back to the house in time, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Which, as I'm single and have no kids, I can just like go and follow a goose for a while. So, which is kind of fun actually, but doesn't help with my time blindness, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah.
I did once get watching dolphins out on the coast, and then was like, "Oh yeah, I should probably tell my parents where I am because it's like 8 p.m. now, and I'm still an hour away." So I'm looking forward to actually reading this when we get the script like finalized and everything. So it I did read in a preliminary script, and it looks pretty cool so far. So
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
yeah.
I have a similar one. Did I show you mine? I don't know if I
No,
showed
you
you mine.
haven't actually.
We
No.
we both were working on our scripts at roughly the same time, and we agreed that they're about the same percentage of finish, but
Yeah.
but like totally different in what got finished and what didn't get finished. Yeah. And hers has, I don't know if hers has more action in it. Like hers is a little bit more swashbuckly, I guess, which is not really a spoiler because, you know, you can clearly see that we're having a pirate thing happen here.
Yeah, she looks like a pirate, so I mean, yeah, I'd like to read yours as well, but I just haven't got around to. I mean, yeah, like I'm trying to do that comic-y thing as well, and it's just finding the time and everything to finish it at the moment. Because I know what's going to happen in the last 2 pages for mine, and I know what's happening in the first 7 pages. I just need to figure out what's going in between them. So, which would help, but it's my brain's just not working with me at the moment. Plus, I've got a game RimWorld, which is like a colony sim builder, and it's been distracting me a bit recently.
Oops.
Yeah. You can do some interesting things in that game. I saw someone in the actual comments on it saying it's a war crime simulator. But it's like,
the hell?
Yeah, you can do some very questionable things, like if you have captives, you can basically harvest their organs and stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the hell kind of a game is this?
It's a dystopian sci-fi colony sim, so it's like, and I don't
Weird.
even have all of the packs for it and things. I was like, this is like some of the stuff. Oh, and my guys, I had to reload a save because there's obviously like alien animals and stuff, and then there's some that are called muffalos, and they basically kind of got mad that when I was hunting them, and I didn't realize there was like 15 of them in one place, and they basically trampled the guy who was hunting them like until he was unconscious, and then just rampaged through my entire settlement, taking out all of my colonists. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna reload that one. I do like colony build systems though. It's kind of heavily inspired, I think, by a game called Dwarf Fortress, which is a game that I lost many hours to when I was younger. I mean, you can also get that one on Steam now, but it's like the most complicated game you could possibly imagine. But in that one, I used to like the fact that you could get it used to generate like an entire history of the world. So you'd get you'd be able to read this really weird random history and stuff, and like random descriptions, because you can't see the actual any detail in the models, but some of the stuff that it would say about the little characters was great. It's like this, this dwarf is 3 years old and has a full beard and like a peg leg and stuff. It was hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm kind of at the moment just roughly blocking in this. I'm going to sort out the lighting a bit later because at the moment she's got very flat colors and there isn't actually a light source. So I'm going to have to decide where the light source is, which will probably happen when I put the sky in. So it might even be sort of like a muted, kind of hazy light source like you get at the coast. Because
sure.
Yeah, do it like a bright light colored thing, but I often find that really brightly lit stuff tends to obscure some details.
Yeah, that's fair.
One thing you don't get with the pictures though is the smell of the like seaweed and everything.
Which, depending on your mood and the day, can
Yeah, because
be not great.
sometimes the coast can smell really nice and really fresh, and other times it
Mm-hmm.
just smells rancid. It's like
Dead, rotting fish. Yes.
yeah, or seaweed that's like it's got that kind of sulfury smell.
Yeah. It's funny here. The river is much smaller than the sea, of course, but it's similar in that some days it's a nice, refreshing, and being that it's a river, it's not the cleanest thing in the world,
No.
but it's surprisingly can be really nice some days, and then some days it's just, especially after it rains, you think that would be the best time to smell things because the earth smells just loamy and fresh when it rains, but the river smells like rotting fish carcasses when it rains. I do not care for it.
I used to really like the smell of tarmac when it rains. When it with the is it asphalt? You could maybe call it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like just after it rained, that weird smell that it gets. I used to quite like it when I was a kid, but I don't like it now. I'm an adult. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah. I suppose I don't smell it so much where I live because we're not really in a. I'm not in a town or anything. I'm in the middle of nowhere, so.
I don't know what I did lately, but I have like my fingernails and my cuticles are all jaggy.
Yeah,
I keep catching them on stuff.
I'm quite bad for that, but then I'm the sort of. I never really take any care of my nails anyway, so they're always just really, really short. Like I've tried to get long nails and to paint them and stuff, but it's just too much effort, and I do too many practical things.
Yeah, when I used to have problems with making my fingernails long. Turns out that was hypothyroidism. So as long as I am taking my thyroid pills,
yeah,
I can actually grow some fingernails.
Yeah, I have quite sort of brittle nails.
Fish is here. Hey, Fish.
Hey, Fish.
Yeah, it's I don't think everybody can grow nice nails. It's just a thing.
No, I just break them off on everything. I just walk through life like a bulldozer. Like I just smashed my toe up on the shower like this week. I got a really good scuff down my leg because I fell over it.
Didn't you legit just break your toe the other day? Was that last week or this week?
I think it was last week. I don't know if it's broken. It has been broken 3 times before, that toe, so it's really hard to tell. It's just a bit of a weird shape. But yeah, I was getting out the shower and just smashed it off the bottom of the shower. So,
ow.
Yeah.
I'm just like looking at my. Does the nails on your right hand grow faster than the nails on your left hand?
I have no idea.
Let's see if you can see. No, because the light's blasting them out. I have very long fingernails. They're much longer. Right now, they're very long for me, but they're much longer on my right hand than my left because I assume because I'm right-handed, like the dominant hand grows faster. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Fish says his get floppy when they get too long. They get floppy?
That's weird.
Like it's just I guess more just weak nail beds. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we've got a condition in my family that affects nail growth anyway, so like sometimes it just seems to make my nails quite weak, but it's called nail patella syndrome, and it's like 1 in 50,000 people. Yeah. 1 in 50,000 people, so it's not like a common one. But it can, like, I don't have the thumbnails, but the classical thumbnails are like split up the middle. So that's yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like it doesn't just affect your nails and stuff as well, but I don't know if I've got it. I suspect I've only got a very mild case if I do, but it is in my family. And it's like I think it has affected some part of my nail growth, especially my toes. But it could just because I just keep like smashing my toes off everything. But that's probably why I can't get can't get my nails too long. But they break really easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like I said, I used to have bad problems with my fingernails breaking easy, but hypothyroidism. And that's one of the things that actually the pill actually corrects. Like if I take the medication, then I actually have nice nails. Yeah. It's not something that works with all the symptoms. Like for example, I mentioned my eyebrows a while back. It's like they're still slowly disappearing.
Oh,
Fish says he has random fingers grow faster than others. That's interesting. Yeah, mine. I think that my pinky fingernail grows really fast, and I've gotten the crack pinky comments before. I was like, no, I'm not purposely keeping it that long. It's just also because it's shorter, so it's more protected than the rest of my fingers, and so when I smash it off with something, it's much less likely to get broken.
I'm too much of a gardener to actually grow my nails out. There's nothing worse than just trying to scrub dirt out from under your fingernails all the time.
Right. Yeah, no, this is about as long as mine will ever get, and that because I'm already getting annoyed with them. So it's hard to do everything when you have long nails. I don't know how people with long nails do it, because they are such a pain, and like you can't do anything. Like, how do people with long nails type? Like with a touch screen. Like how do you do it?
I've seen them like really carefully like pressing the buttons. I can't be bothered with that sort of stuff. It's like I just do too much practical stuff to bother. It's not.
I watched this fingernail person. She's funny, and that's why I watch her on YouTube. But I don't care about the nail stuff. But she has this like hook that she carries around with her on her key ring that she uses to open up doors and stuff so that she doesn't break her nails. And I'm like, but why? Okay, I can see it'd probably be much more sanitary too, but why?
I know, it just seems too much effort to me.
It really does.
So,
Fish said a couple of my nails turn flat at the end, so when they get too long, they bend back and forth. Oh, yeah. The flat, I have a little bit of, like, on my fuck you finger. They get flat. They get really flat, and then eventually, they kind of break right there. Uh-oh. Not Lori's here.
Not Lori.
Now, if y'all would be talking about weird fingernails and stuff, I had to commit for a second to talk about the long fingernails. Because it's always kind of weirded me out. Like, my mom used to have, not super long, but she had long nails. And she would have to, like, use a pencil to type on the phone and stuff and all those things. And then I had, like, one friend, dear friend of mine, Filipino friend, was a roommate for a while. She had those great, big, long, painted nails. And I was like, I don't know how to fucking what. But my favorite of all of my fingernails is when I was in high school and I was a punk kid and a thug. And we didn't really have goth as a thing, but I was goth for all purposes. And I had the long mohawk and black trench coat. I would grow my nails out really long and cut them all to points and paint them black to make myself as scary as possible.
Oh, yeah.
I far away from me and not get close enough to hurt me emotionally. And so, I made myself as scary as possible. And it worked. It terrified everybody. What ended up breaking me of it was I keep waking up and there'd be blood on my sheets and my drawers would be all tore up. I would start scratching my butt in the middle of the night, like scratching a cheek or something. I would shred through my drawers. I would slice my butt all cheek all up. And finally I was like, okay, I can't do this because I'll start scratching. And then when you like start cutting, it itches more. So you start scratching more instinctively while you're asleep. And I'd be all clawed up by the morning. And I was like, all right, that's not going to work.
No, I've known a few people who've had to wear gloves to try and stop themselves scratching in their sleeps, just because it would like mess their skin up and things, and just because you don't know you're doing it. But
yeah, I used to be that way. I don't have that trouble so much anymore, but I used to. I'd get random scratch. It was my arm, my forearms always, and I would scratch until I bled, and then I'd wake up in the morning and it'd be like a murder scene, and I was like, I need to do something about this. So I wore these mittens to bed.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to sleep in them. I'm like, really,
it's awful because no matter how light the fabric is, you still your hands just sweat like crazy. It was not so bad in the wintertime, and I had to do it for like 2 years straight. So that sucked. But then I even keeping my fingernails chopped all the way down to the quick, it didn't matter. I still managed to just get myself all scratched raw.
Oh. I do know someone who she used to use like diamond nail polish on her nails, but she used to scratch, trim them to points as well, like goth, like and she. So once one of my other friends scared her in a pub by going up behind her and like to her like that, and she turned around and just went swiped at him and like cut him from like one end of his arm to the other. And he had a scar from it, and it's like, well, you don't make people jump in a bar. So
it's surprising when you move fast with them; they're dangerous. And
yeah. I've hurt people just with my shitty nails. Like I've hurt people by accident. Like if I come up and they scare me, or if I felt really bad one time. I scratched my nephew when he was a baby. I didn't even have that long of nails, and but I was trying to get him out of his car seat, and I scratched him. And it happens. I know, but I felt so bad.
Yeah, I mean it's really soft skin when they're babies as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, oh dude, we had a foster girl. Little bitty thing. I mean, she was just barely talking. She was in diaper waddling around, still kind of top heavy because her head was so big. And she came to us just covered in bruises and had bruises all down the sides of her face where she'd been told to get in the corner. And then they say her dad shoved her head into the corner and it had bruised all down the sides of her face. That's awful. I just felt so terrible for this poor abused baby. And the longer we had her, the more I realized she had some kind of condition because she bruised so easily. She had these, pretty soon she had these massive handprints all over her chest, like somebody had just been throttling her. And then I realized it was me picking her up to put her in the car seat. And I left handprints on her.
Wow.
She wasn't my first baby to have around. I wasn't it's just she bruised at everything. My
grandmother was like that. Yeah, my grandmother had very paper thin skin, and she had this cat that had no claws on, and she would come up and do the biscuit thing on her arm, and she would have little paw shaped bruises on her hands, and I don't know what that sort of condition is, but yeah, did you ever take her to the doctor and try and get it figured out?
I brought it up to the doctor and I brought it up to her caseworker and stuff because it still looks like her face was shoved into the corner. That needs to be addressed. And apparently other people said Dad had a temper as well. But I also wanted to make sure that they were aware that she does bruise very easily. So it might not have been as bad as it looked, but this needed to be addressed because it could have been something way more serious. And she was actually the last foster kid we had.
Aww. When I was little, my dad worked quite long hours and stuff, so I always seemed to get ill when my mum was alone with me, and I got bronchial pneumonia, which I was always getting problems with as a kid because we lived in a really moldy house because it was a council sort of house, but it was 10 days I was sick with it or something, and I was so bad that she took me I had to go to the hospital to get my chest x-rayed, and I used to bruise if my parents picked me up, so it's I just have really sensitive skin, so Mum hadn't had any sleep for days because I'd just been I wouldn't let go of her. I just was clinging to her and being really upset. And so is this, what are these marks? It's it's just because where I've picked her up. So they did the x-rays and then the x-rays didn't come through. We need to have another, we need to do another one. So they were obviously wanting to just check me over again. But, where they'd pick me up, there was more bruises. So I seem to have grown out of it though. But I still do kind of bruise a bit easily, just not like that. But wow. I mean, you used to be able to write my name on my arm, just putting pressure on it. It would come up as a mark.
Yeah. Well, I've got that with just the redness that goes away in less than an hour. Like dermagraphia or something that it's called. I don't remember dermagraphia. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm quite liking this so far. I'm still kind of not sure about the color of the mountains behind. I might have to redo that, but I've kind of learned how to use flats underneath rather than just like going at it with one layer. So it's just like Fish says, it's just easier. So it's easier to select things.
It's so nice to not have to redraw that selection over and over to get like that part of her suit or that buckle, or it just saves so much time to do it the first time. And not have, I love it.
So you learn all of the tips on School of Fish, which I watched Tuesday's one like today because I was away yesterday. I was driving to I drove some friends to the Highland Wildlife Park, so we were looking at tigers and wolves and baby Arctic foxes, which are the cutest things. It's like I'm pretty convinced like that all of the staff are just making excuses to go and have a look at the foxes all of the time, because there was like there was about 4 different staff members came to watch them play fighting. It was really funny. It's like, you got jobs to do.
Well, we are over the hour now.
Yeah.
And I do have company coming, so.
Yeah. Okay, well.
And it's children, too, so there's just no freaking way that they can just quietly come in and wait until we're done. No, that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But.
Well, we've kind of got quite a long way today, because she didn't have a background at all before when I started, so. So I know you were late, Fish, so this is a potential alternate cover that I'm doing for a comic that's coming up for UHS, so
yeah,
I'm having fun drawing this one. So
all right, I'll be right back.
Okay, so yeah, it's I think it's one that Laurie wrote. So
oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit more of an adulty one because I think they've been deciding that that's what makes money at the moment. So it's going to be like everyone seems to be struggling so much with the comics and like the Kickstarters and things at the moment. But
everybody's having a hard time. Even some of the nudie ones aren't doing as much as they're used to doing. But
I know.
I think between the cost of living and how many awesome books are out at one time right now, it's just been a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, we're just hoping that this one kind of does quite well. But I think this is possibly going to end up on maybe some other merch as well. Maybe not just the cover, but we'll see. I need to figure out where to put the raven. So I was thinking of popping a raven or something onto this bollard thing here. I can't quite decide on a pose for him yet. So, and I'm going to probably mess around with the background as well. But oops, that's the wrong layer. Yeah, I kind of like that sort of pose. So I'm going to see what I can find in references and things. I did put a little ship in the background, which is just like what I remember ships looking like with sails. So it's I'm really enjoying this one though. It's been so much fun to draw because it's like I just like drawing pirates. Maybe we should do it more often. Yeah. The skin tone is not final at the moment because I basically just did like it's a flat color underneath my sketch at the moment, so it will go. But I found this amazing chart of skin tones. So where is it? That one. And I just find it so useful because it's just like all of the skin tones from darkest to lightest. And I'm like, I found it once and I didn't save it, and then I couldn't find it again, and I was just kicking myself. So I found it again now, so it's definitely saved. So useful just to see, what the highlights and everything is, because it's not really the case just putting white over the top of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to decide what lighting to do on this as well, because I'm not sure just now. I've got a necklace to put in, which is this. So I'm either going to have it sat in the palm of her hand on its side with the chain hanging down, or the chain kind of hanging across her fingers and the pendant hanging below her hand. I'm not quite sure yet.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if it needs to be that iconic looking image of it, hanging might be better because then you can see it clearly.
Yeah.
As opposed to laying in her hand, but
Yeah, I was thinking that, but there might be an alternate version of this as well, where the clothes are not there. So, just as like I got asked to do that as well. So
you
that is
probably
on a
get
different
$60
layer.
for that cover.
Yeah, I mean it's got a different. That's on a different layer because the way I draw it is from like life models anyway, with the reference packs I've got. So I had to change the face quite a lot to try and get the likeness right because the woman that I was drawing just didn't look like her at all. But it's so I was trying to get the likeness right, similar to this one. Obviously, it changes a bit with the way that you draw things, but I don't think I'm too far off. So,
Yeah.
need to get the dreadlocks and stuff done. But yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this, and it's a bit different for me. But I keep having to sort of try and design a background, which is something I'm not all that great confident at doing. But maybe I could do. I'm just trying to think. A few more ships further out as well, perhaps. She kind of looks more like it would be like more of a sunnier sort of sky rather than a really dark one. But my problem with looking at seascapes is that I live next to the North Sea, and the North Sea for the most part is grey, so because there's no sunshine here. I mean, you do get days where it's really blue, and sometimes it looks a bit green where the sea's going out underneath it. Maybe for something like this, it might actually be better to be like that bluey green colour and have a bit more of a bluish sky, just to make it look a bit brighter. She's kind of just in flat colours at the moment because I just was like putting the clothes in with just the flat colours. There's no shading or anything just yet. I need to decide which direction the light's coming from. So yeah, but
that's the thing that always challenges me is trying to figure that out from nothing and figure out, okay, where am I going to put the light and like which light's going to be where, and do I want to have like, you know, a background light reflecting a little bit onto this, and what color am I going to use for that, and then when you start, it's like, oh crap, I ruined this, I messed it up. But when I just follow the process, by the end of it usually looks pretty good.
But and then of course you get the light reflecting from underneath. So if it's like a really white surface, it would be casting light up onto her legs and the bottom of the barrel and stuff, because that's I mean I did a painting of, what was it, like little grouse things, and they were sat in the snow, and the light was reflecting from underneath, like onto the snow, and then like underneath their chests, and then coming back from behind them. So it was a really interesting lighting challenge for me. I really enjoyed. I kind of like doing stuff like that though, because you've got to think where it's bouncing back and everything. But
yeah, and then sometimes, like for me in comics, sometimes I just have to fake it because like I need to separate this thing from that thing. And you know, I need to clearly separate him from the person in the background and have it not be confusing where they overlap. So suddenly, like maybe this other person's lit by a different color light than the person in front of them or something,
or
but
rim lighting.
It helps get that separation. And you know, just fake it, or somebody's got a little spotlight under his arm so that it's lit a little bit, so her being darker in the shadow stands out. And I mean, they do it on TV all the time. I can get away with it.
Yeah, they do, as long as it kind of looks natural and not really, really obvious what you've done. But I suppose a lot of people, like, they don't really notice stuff like that. I think Laurie showed us a picture earlier that was like obviously an AI thing, and it's like the more you looked at it, the worse it kind of was. But people were like, "Oh, that's an amazing picture," and it's like, but there's loads of really obvious flaws in it. How are you not seeing these?
They don't look that deep into the details, which is another thing I've realized the more I've been at this. Most people really don't pay that close of attention to a lot of this stuff. Some people get in and really nitpick it, but most people never really look that deep. So I'm like, I've learned where I can ease off on some of the time I was spending on all the little nuances that nobody ever really looked at, and
probably the only
my work
Yeah,
And,
probably the only people who notice is like other artists because we've trained our
yeah,
brains to look for that. And I know that sometimes I notice things and it kind of bugs me, but I'm like, nobody else would notice that. There's
mhm.
no point in saying anything.
Oh, like it drives me nuts watching a TV show where like two cops are in a car on a stakeout, and when we're looking through the driver's side window, they all have a blue rim light on the other side, and then when we're looking through the driver's side window, they've all got a blue rim light on the driver's side, the passenger
Yeah.
side, and it just the light keeps flipping every time we go back and forth, and
Yeah.
nobody ever addresses the fact that this blue light is apparently flashing from both sides behind the car, and
Yeah.
that bugs me.
I just People just don't notice stuff like that. I mean, there was one that I did notice though that I think other people did was when The Lord of the Rings came out, The Fellowship of the Ring, they'd made a mistake, and I went to see it in the cinema. And you know where the hobbits jump down and hide from the Nazgul that's coming, and it like just after they've got the mushrooms, and they jump down and hide because and it's coming, and it comes like the horse comes out behind a tree behind them, and it stops and looks down over this ridge where they're all hiding underneath. In the cinema version, it comes out from behind the tree, but it doesn't go in the gap. It doesn't pass the behind the tree from the gap on the other side. They'd obviously missed that, and when it actually came out on DVD, they cropped it so you couldn't see the gap on the other side of the tree. So it's like I think someone must have told them.
Oh man. Yeah, at that point, it's probably easier just to crop it than to go
Yeah.
back and try and fix it.
Oh, I mean, it looked fine when they cropped it. But yeah, I think. But I was watching it thinking, how did they miss that? It's really obvious.
Hmm.
Probably they were just too tired. I can imagine that sort of the sort of graphic design work back in the day would have been just exhausting when you're trying to do something as long as that.
Hmm. Yeah, and they really don't get paid well enough, and they're under such a time crunch all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just ridiculous.
I mean, when it came out, I was like, oh, I would have loved to have worked on that. But when you actually see the sort of working conditions that a lot of the people have behind the scenes in these films, like, maybe not.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah. I
it was.
was. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say now. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I remember. I was. I went to school for 3D animation and design, and the whole point was to get out and either work in movies or video games.
Yeah.
And I was really shocked the more I found out about the video game industry. And, a whole lot of it is sitting around with not a whole lot to do. And then the last couple of months, it's crazy crunch time, long hours, you
Yeah.
know, 60, 100-hour weeks every week over and over and over again until we get it out. And I'm like, if you just worked at a decent pace the whole time on it, like you wouldn't have to crunch so bad at the end. But
No. It's. I think a lot of it is like you just don't get given the information you need until because the
mhm,
people aren't really like thinking about how long it takes to do this stuff.
mhm. Or they think, oh, it takes this long to do a video game. Okay, start the timer. It's going to take us 6 months to get it out. And
Yeah.
then they piddle around on their part for months before they give the rest of the teams what they need to really do their work
Yeah.
and wait to make final decisions and stuff until a couple of months in, and they'll be like, well, why aren't you 3 months ahead? Because we've been waiting for 3 months for you to give us the final call on some of these things.
Yeah. I mean, you need to know what you're actually making with the 3D models and stuff
Hmm.
before you do any of these things. I mean, um, I've known a few people who have been learning how to do the games and stuff, and I was like, it's just it does seem to be so much of the programming, and then they'll be like, oh, well, I mean, the guy that I knew that does it, he just like draws everything himself and then programs it, so he knows a bit better about it. But yeah, I think he was getting a bit frustrated with other parts of the process as well.
Yeah, it's wild how easy it is for people to be able to do awesome stuff now, and you
Yeah,
can use these awesome engines from awesome games to make your own stuff relatively easy. I mean, easier than you ever could have before. Like when I was going to school, you had to build everything from scratch, and the programmers had to program all the movements and stuff in code. And now you can just like animate it and save animations and copy them and reuse them. And
yeah, I mean, what was it? I was watching my friend do it, and he was like, he made the figure, and then there was a thing in the program where you just set like the points of the body, like the elbows, shoulders, and the hips and knees, and then you just pressed a button and it started dancing. It's like,
oh yeah, because you've got all kinds of saved motions and walk patterns and runs and things that you can just put on that character now. Yeah, skeletons weren't even a thing when I was in school. Like that wasn't even a possibility. We couldn't even like deform shapes in the animation. Like now you can build one solid form of a character and just bend the elbow and it just bends. We had to build them like dolls in segments, and this solid shape moves at the corner like a like a marionette, and you don't have to do that anymore.
I like how when you step away for a minute and the conversation's completely different when I come back. But it was more like 10 minutes, I guess. But
I can vaguely hear children. I think you've got your guests now.
Yeah, they are gonna watch Disney for a few more minutes, and then we're gonna make some supper.
Yay! Turn your little fingers in the pot. Yay!
Well, if you got guests, then I should maybe call this a day for now. And
this is looking really good.
Yeah, the colours might change. I might make it a bit more of a sunny sort of sky, because I kind of just realised that I'm used to the Scottish Sea, which is grey. So, oops. So I'm pleased with how she's looking, and I'm gonna mess around with the Raven and see what I come up with.
Teach these kids to do good stuff. They're watching Bluey again. Freaking Bluey!
I have only heard of Bluey once because I saw someone making candy that was Bluey shaped.
But Bluey is
there you go.
better to watch than most of the shows.
It is. I've heard I know from the stuff that we watched when we were kids, Bluey is definitely more wholesome than the action.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fun. And like, if you watch it, there's like a lot of subtext to it and stuff. And
I don't know. I was an 80s UK child. We had stuff like
so depressing stuff.
Yeah, the Animals of Farthingwood and the Silver Brumby and like Watership Down.
Watership Down. Yeah,
animal death and stuff.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a comment about Bluey, about how the dad on Bluey is really unrealistic because he spends too much time playing with his kids and he's not enough time mowing the lawn. And I was like, is the bar for parenthood as a dad truly like in hell? Like it is below sea level, isn't it? Because like you spend too much time playing with your children and not enough time mowing your lawn. First of all, how many freaking times a week does your lawn need to be mowed? Once is plenty.
He obviously
especially
lives in
in
a
this
place with
weather.
a housing association.
Yeah, no shit.
Like nobody cares if you don't cut your lawn around here. So,
I wish.
I mean, I did have to try and do it the other day.
He's afraid of snakes.
Okay, that's fair.
Well,
J-Man's here. Hey, J-Man.
Hey, J-Man.
What is up,
Just in time.
I did have to cut the grass recently because, I mean, it's just been raining so much I couldn't get the mower through it. And it was actually deeper than Hazel's shoulders, so I had to do something about it because she couldn't. Well, she's tiny. She's like, in fact, she's actually here today. Hazel?
Hello, Light 88 says that's rich people problems with the mowing the lawn. Yeah, I mean, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. can pay somebody to mow his lawn, I know he has a lot of money. He's certainly rich enough.
He's out there on that lawnmower trying to get it done in 60 seconds.
That's fair. So he's probably got one of those zero-turn ones that spins real fast and goes like fucking 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. So this is Hazel. She's actually pretty tiny. Everyone thinks she's a lot bigger than she is, but she's really
Well, when
really
you have
small.
her in picture, you show the pictures of her with no nothing around her for a size comparison. She does look like a monster, but then
she looks like that bowed-up dog from the cartoons, with the head.
J-Man
She's
said,
very,
"Sorry,
very
I'm a little late. I had to buy my dog Lola a birthday present. It's her 8th birthday. Happy birthday, Lola!"
Hey, Lola.
Happy birthday, Lola. This Hazel's really tired now. It's like I just woke her up to pick her up. But no, she's 6 kilos. So, I mean, everyone always who meets her, who's seen her online first, thinks she's enormous, but she's really, really tiny. In fact, actually, Sarah's got cats bigger than her.
Yeah, that's what was the thing, is that I was like, oh, I wonder if her and Bob are the same size. And then Katy told me the weight, and I was like, no shit, Bob is at least 3 pounds heavier than Hazel. Bob is just, he's just a house cat.
That's what I really want.
What?
But how many stones heavier?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Oh, I only know the weight in kilos because the vets only do the weight in kilos. She's so sleepy.
I just did the math. It's 13.2 pounds. She's not quite a stone.
No, she's not. She's going now.
Bob is a stone.
Yeah.
Is a stone 14 or 16 pounds? I can't remember.
14.
14. So Bob is bigger than a stone.
Nice round number.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so I know Spot is
they get on our case about not using the metric system, and then they have stones over there. What?
But we also have kilos and stuff. It's
we should be using it. It is a
Pirate
Pirate Girl for a as yet unnamed UHS title, or not unnamed, but you don't get to know the name of it yet.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm kind of digging logo here.
Yeah, we could just call it logo here.
Logo here.
Yeah, so it's a bit rough so far, but yeah, she's going to be the main character in this, and this is going to be an alternate cover for it. So I'm just trying to figure out the background at the moment, but it probably will get a lot more detail. And I still think I haven't quite got the angle of the stones right, so I'm going to mess around with that with the good old-fashioned liquify at some point, because liquify is great. Just shove everything around and.
Mm-hmm. That's the closest thing to cheating that you really get in digital art, is that it's easier to push the paint around on digital.
And it's easier to move stuff around as well. It's like instead of having to redraw it all the time, which is just kind of pain. So,
yeah, for sure.
Oh, I love this so much.
It's turning out so great.
Thanks.
So many times I draw a cool hand or something, and it's the wrong shape and in the wrong place, and I can just select it and resize it and rotate it and move it. And it saves so much time to not have to draw it all over from scratch again.
It's so much better. Just seeing what it looks like flipped. Yeah, I still think I haven't quite got the angle right, but I'll mess around with that after I've kind of finished. But she's not looking too bad, so
no, she's
I just
great.
think, I just think this bit in this bottom corner near the chest is not quite right, but I'll sort it out later. So, and I'll have to try and look up sailing ships as well. Oh, did you see the meme that's going around recently? It's like, oh, they're now thinking of powering these ships with big kites.
Big kites, yes. I love it. Big kites.
Just
mean sails?
It's like what they used to power ships with.
Oh, I love it. There's no way that had to be satire, right? It had to be.
Well, not for nothing, but kayakers and stuff will use kites sometimes, especially on the ocean, to go really fast, because you can raise them up really high and get into faster winds and really haul your butt if you get up there into those higher winds. So I mean, it is a thing, but I don't know if they could do that with giant ships or not. That's a lot of force.
Possibly. I mean, the hydrofoil ships are pretty cool as well, where it actually, they get sailing so fast that they actually rise up out of the water, and they've just got one little thing that's
little wing in there pushing it up. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I think they're really, really quick, but I don't exactly know which sort of time period this is. It's probably just medieval fantasy, really, but
I really don't know either. I mean, it's because of the fantasy element, it could literally be at any point in time at all, even future, past, alternate dimension. I don't know.
She does have a gun, but she also has a sword, so I mean,
that's still officially pirate times, because pirate times is 600 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing I've always loved about the pirate aesthetic, is being, the cool juxtaposition between different generations of weaponry and gear. And I like to apply that all the time. One of my favorite characters from a story that I have yet to publish is sort of a road warrior kind of look to him, but he's traveling time and just picking up stuff as he goes. So he has flintlock pistols, and he has cowboy boots, and he has Roman armor and all kinds of different stuff combined together. And
Nice.
I love the look.
But I love the fact that in fantasy you can just make whatever you want combination of stuff. I mean, as long as it's like historically accurate for that setting, then it works. It's like, you know, it doesn't have to be historically accurate to like our world, because they could have gone through different paths of discovery, you know. So
Oh yeah, or like that meme where they talk about like how many periods overlap that we don't think about, and you
yeah.
could have cowboys and samurais and things together at the same time. And like, that's pretty badass right there.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy. It's like, what was it, 4,000 years ago? They still think, is there something like that was still mammoths and stuff, and like this tiny island somewhere, and it's just like whilst the pyramids are being built, which is just weird.
I didn't hear about that. I gotta look that up now.
I can't remember if I'm right about that one, but it was like they were much sort of closer to us seeing them than we think they were. So yeah.
All right. Well, I need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things are starting to get crazy out here.
No, just as soon as I get here, Sarah leaves. I'm not.
Well, I think we're probably going to have to like call it a day, because I was driving for 4 hours yesterday, so I'm a bit tired.
You should have. Yeah, it was like there was a moment there. I was sure that between that and you not being able to get your computer to do the thing, I was like, let's just cancel the damn show, whatever.
Yeah, it's computer says no quite a bit today, so yeah.
Well, J-Man says he loves it, so, and I think it's looking great.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to see the whole thing as the official, one of the official covers. So I think there's going to be a choice between a few, but so it might appear on and J-Man, there might be a version without the clothes as well, because I've been asked to do that too.
Yes.
So.
Naughty.
Yes.
Alrighty.
You sounded so British when you said that.
I wasn't even trying.
I know. Right.
You know what? The joke used to be that I was born in the wrong country, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As back when it was the My Little Pony girls all together chatting all the time.
Well, you did ask me to marry you for your visa at one point. So.
I may have done that more than once. Yes.
Yes. But,
she said no. She keeps saying no matter how many times I try, so I just gave up.
They do check up on these things, you know.
Well, it's not like we couldn't. I mean, I pretty much know everything I need to know about you for that to be a thing, right?
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we should go for real. And stop saying that we're gonna go and then not go. You know.
Yeah, we should. Right. Well, thanks for everyone who's watched, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, and see you hopefully on Monday if things do not stop going crazy. Or things do stop going crazy, then we can actually have our freaking show like we're supposed to, and have been canceled a bajillion times in the past month. Yeah. Anyway.
And Brad, I don't think we're going to see Scurvy with this character because it's not all that attractive. But you'll just have to ask Laurie.
Yeah. So that'll be an artistic choice for sure. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.